There's a strange paradox hiding in plain sight. The harder many people work, the more trapped they become, and the very thing they believe is securing their future is often quietly stealing it from them. Every morning, millions wake up, rush into traffic, sit through meetings, answer emails, solve problems, and exchange another day of their lives for a paycheck, never realizing they are participating in a game whose rules were written long before they arrived. The tragedy is not that they are working hard. The tragedy is that most have never been shown a different path. Somewhere between survival and freedom lies a shift so powerful that once you see it, you can never look at money, work, or success the same way again. The day I realized hard work wasn't the answer. Imagine two men standing on opposite sides of a river. The first spends every day carrying buckets of water from one side to the other. He is strong, disciplined, and respected because nobody works harder than him. From sunrise to sunset, he moves bucket after bucket, and every evening he is paid for the amount of water he transported. The second man appears less productive. Instead of carrying buckets, he spends his days digging trenches, connecting pipes, and building something nobody fully understands. The first man laughs at him. The villagers laugh too. While they are earning money every day, the second man seems to be accomplishing nothing. Months pass. The bucket carrier continues making money. The pipeline builder continues digging. Some days he wonders if he is wasting his time. Some days he questions his own decisions, yet he keeps building. Then one morning, water begins flowing through the pipeline. For the first time, water moves without his hands touching a bucket. The next day, it flows again. The next week, it continues. Months later, while the bucket carrier is still exhausting himself every day, the pipeline keeps delivering water. That simple story explains why so many people remain financially stuck despite being intelligent, hardworking, and ambitious. Most people are rewarded for activity. Very few are rewarded for building systems. From childhood, we are trained to associate effort with reward. Study hard and get good grades. Work hard and earn a salary. Stay longer and receive recognition. There is nothing wrong with hard work. In fact, hard work remains essential. The problem begins when effort becomes the only source of value. Think about it carefully. If your income disappears the moment you stop working, you have not built wealth. You have built dependence. This is why high-income earners can still feel trapped. A doctor earning a substantial salary may appear wealthy. Yet if every dollar depends on showing up tomorrow, there is still a ceiling above their life. A lawyer may earn more in a month than others earn in a year. Yet the calendar remains the boss. Every vacation has a cost. Every break reduces income. Every interruption creates pressure. The shocking reality is that many people spend years trying to increase the value of their hours instead of asking a more important question. How can I create value that survives beyond my hours? That question changes everything. The wealthy often understand something that is rarely taught in schools. Money is not created only by labor. Money is created by ownership. Ownership of assets, ownership of systems, ownership of ideas, ownership of businesses, ownership of investments, ownership of intellectual property. When you own nothing but your time, your earning power remains limited by biology. There are only 24 hours in a day. No amount of motivation can change that. You cannot wake up tomorrow with 30 hours. You cannot negotiate with the clock. Time remains stubbornly finite. This is why the pursuit of freedom cannot be solved simply by working harder. Many people eventually discover that they have climbed the ladder successfully, only to realize the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. They spent years maximizing effort without maximizing leverage. They mastered productivity without mastering multiplication. And that realization can be both terrifying and liberating. Terrifying because it forces you to question assumptions you have believed your entire life. Liberating because once you recognize the trap, you can begin building your escape. The hidden difference between workers and builders. Years ago, a young man took a job that paid just enough to survive. He promised himself it would be temporary. He would work hard, save money, and eventually create a better future. The first year passed quickly, then the second, then the third. Every raise felt like progress. Every promotion felt like evidence that he was moving forward. Yet something strange happened. The more he earned, the more expensive his life became. A better apartment arrived, then a newer car, then higher monthly obligations, then subscriptions, then lifestyle upgrades. Every improvement seemed deserved. Every expense felt reasonable. Yet despite earning more than ever, he felt no closer to freedom. What changed? Nothing except the size of the treadmill. This is one of the most dangerous financial illusions in modern life. People assume that increasing income automatically creates wealth. Sometimes it does. Often, it merely creates a more comfortable version of dependence. Builders see the world differently. While workers focus primarily on earning, builders focus on creating. While workers ask how much they can make this month, builders ask what they can create that still matters next year. Workers optimize effort. Builders optimize leverage. A worker completes a task and receives payment. A builder creates something that can continue producing value long after the original work is finished. This distinction appears everywhere. An author may spend 2 years writing a book. During those 2 years, the project may generate little income. To outside observers, it appears inefficient. But once completed, the book can continue creating opportunities, sales, and influence for years. A software developer may spend months creating an application. During development, the effort seems disproportionate to the reward. Yet once released, thousands of people may use it simultaneously. A content creator may spend hundreds of hours producing videos before seeing meaningful results. Then, one piece of content reaches millions and continues generating attention long after publication. The pattern remains the same. Builders willingly endure delayed rewards because they understand something most people never fully appreciate. The greatest financial opportunities rarely pay immediately. Human psychology fights against this idea. We crave instant feedback. We enjoy certainty. We prefer rewards we can see today, rather than possibilities that might arrive tomorrow. This is why so many people abandon promising projects too early. They mistake invisible progress for failure. A tree spends years growing roots before displaying its full height. From the surface, it appears as though little is happening. Underground, everything is happening. The same principle applies to wealth. The investments nobody notices. The skills developed after work. The business being built quietly. The audience growing slowly. The systems being created behind the scenes. For long periods, these efforts appear insignificant. Then one day they begin producing results disproportionate to the effort currently being invested. That is when the game changes. The person who once depended entirely on today's work begins benefiting from yesterday's work. Income becomes less connected to immediate labor. Opportunities begin appearing from previous effort. Momentum starts replacing constant force. Most people spend their lives pushing the car uphill every day. Builders spend years creating engines. And although building the engine takes longer in the beginning, the future looks completely different once it starts running. The psychology that keeps people stuck. One of the greatest obstacles to financial freedom is not a lack of opportunity. It is a way of thinking that quietly shapes decisions every single day. Most people do not realize they are operating from a survival mindset because survival often disguises itself as responsibility. They tell themselves they are being practical. They tell themselves they cannot take risks. They tell themselves they will start building something later, after life becomes less busy, after they save more money, after circumstances improve. But later has a strange habit of never arriving. The human brain is designed to protect us from uncertainty. Thousands of years ago, Avoiding uncertainty helped people survive. Today, however, many of the most valuable opportunities require stepping into uncertainty before the reward becomes visible. Starting a business is uncertain. Creating content is uncertain. Learning a high-income skill is uncertain. Investing money is uncertain. Building anything meaningful usually involves a period where effort appears disconnected from results. This creates an internal battle. One voice says, "Stay safe. Keep doing what you know." Another voice whispers, "There might be more than this." Most people spend their lives listening to the first voice. The reason is simple. Immediate rewards feel real. Future rewards feel imaginary. Imagine being offered two options. The first gives you a small reward today. The second offers a far greater reward years from now. Psychologists have repeatedly discovered that many people choose the smaller, immediate reward. The future feels distant. The present feels urgent. This tendency affects far more than money. People choose entertainment over learning, consumption over creation, comfort over growth, convenience over opportunity. Then, years later, they wonder why their lives remain unchanged. The irony is painful. The things that feel easiest today often create difficulty tomorrow. The things that feel difficult today often create freedom tomorrow. Every successful builder eventually learns to tolerate delayed gratification. They understand that visible rewards are often preceded by long periods of invisible progress. They stop demanding immediate proof that their efforts are working. Instead, they trust the process of accumulation. A single workout rarely changes a body. A single investment rarely changes a financial future. A single piece of content rarely builds an audience. A single book rarely transforms a mind. But repeated actions compound. Compounding is one of the most powerful forces in the world because it rewards consistency more than intensity. Many people sprint for a few weeks and quit. Builders continue long enough for momentum to appear, and momentum changes everything. Once results begin accumulating, opportunities multiply, confidence grows, skills improve, networks expand, visibility increases. What once required enormous effort begins producing larger outcomes. To outsiders, it appears sudden. To the builder, it was years in the making. This is why wealth often looks mysterious to people who only see the outcome. They notice the successful business, but not the years of uncertainty. They see the profitable investment portfolio, but not the discipline behind it. They admire the freedom, but ignore the sacrifice that created it. The shift away from trading time for money begins in the mind long before it appears in a bank account. It begins when you stop asking, "What can I earn today?" and start asking, "What can I build that continues creating value tomorrow?" That single question has changed countless lives. The moment your financial life changes forever. There is a moment that arrives quietly for many people. No celebration announces it. No dramatic event marks its arrival. Yet once it happens, life never looks the same again. The moment is this. You stop viewing time as something to sell and begin viewing it as something to invest. At first, the distinction sounds small. In reality, it changes almost every decision you make. When you sell time, your focus remains fixed on immediate compensation. Every hour must justify itself today. Every effort must produce a quick return. The future becomes secondary because the present consumes all your attention. When you invest time, everything changes. You become willing to endure temporary discomfort for long-term leverage. You become willing to learn skills whose rewards may take years to fully appear. You become willing to create assets before they generate income. You begin planting trees whose shade you may not enjoy immediately. This is how freedom is built. Not through shortcuts, not through luck, not through secret formulas, but through the repeated decision to invest effort into things capable of growing beyond your direct involvement. Consider the difference between digging a well and carrying water. Both require effort. One solves today's problem. The other solves tomorrow's problem as well. Many people spend their entire lives solving today's problem. Builders spend part of their lives creating tomorrow's solutions. That difference compounds over decades. Imagine reaching a point where your investments generate income. Your business functions without constant supervision. Your skills create opportunities automatically. Your reputation opens doors before you even knock. Notice something important. None of these outcomes eliminate work. Meaningful people rarely want to eliminate work. They want to eliminate dependence. There is a profound difference. Dependence means your financial life rests entirely on your next hour of labor. Freedom means your past efforts continue supporting your future. That distinction is where real wealth begins. The goal was never to stop working. The goal was to stop being trapped. The most fulfilled people often continue working long after they no longer need the money, because meaningful contribution gives life purpose. The difference is that they work from choice rather than necessity. Choice changes everything. The person trapped in survival works because they must. The person who has built leverage works because they want to. One experiences pressure. The other experiences possibility. And possibility is one of the most valuable forms of wealth that exists. As you think about your own life, consider this question carefully. If your income stopped tomorrow, how much of your past effort would continue working for you? The answer may reveal more about your financial future than your current salary ever could. Because the people who eventually achieve extraordinary freedom rarely begin with extraordinary advantages. They simply learn to direct their effort differently. While others focus entirely on earning, they focus on building. While others consume all of today's rewards, they reserve energy for creating tomorrow's opportunities. Years pass. One group becomes increasingly dependent on the next paycheck. The other becomes increasingly supported by previous effort. Both worked hard. Both sacrificed. Both stayed busy. Yet their futures unfold in completely different directions. The clock moves forward for everyone. Every day, 24 hours are deposited into your life and quietly withdrawn before midnight. You cannot save them. You cannot borrow more. You cannot negotiate for extras. The only decision available is how those hours will be used. Will they disappear the moment they are spent? Or will they become part of something larger than themselves? That is the shift that changes everything. The people who understand it stop measuring success only by what they earn today and start measuring it by what their efforts can become. And once that perspective takes root, every hour gains a new purpose. Every decision carries greater weight, and every step moves you closer to a future where money is no longer purchased solely with time, but created through value that continues long after the work is done.